Good evening and welcome to Photo Training for You. It's Mark Cleghorn, and we're just going to start the announcement of the top 20 in the Dream Team. It is the top 5 that win the prize, which is the 3 days photography experience with myself and the team down in Cardiff. Good luck to you all. We had just over 700 entries in all, so again, well done if you got this far. We just did them choice-wise as a team and not just myself, so a little bit more than kind of a normal photo critique night, because obviously it is a competition. The top 2 or 3 are really kind of the winners as such, really, and then obviously the top 10 are kind of the 4 or 5. As I said, are still there. They're really great shots. Then the 6 to 10, as it were, they're the kind of the reserve places, and there are reserve places, so don't get too despondent in case people can't make that date and so on, so don't worry about it. And then of course we have the top 20, so the last 10 before getting into the reserve element. Shut up, Mark, get on with it. Everybody wants to know if they've got so far. So tonight's top 20, going through it, just going to give you a kind of quick review and kind of say the nice things and the kind of things that it was lacking as far as the images were concerned. This first image, great neon shot, whether it's on a catwalk or whatever, I really liked it. I thought there was a kind of a lot of mysticism kind of going on in here, and obviously we were looking for a theme, the dream theme and so on, and I did feel that it kind of fitted in that. Not so strong with the rest of the team. I was kind of outvoted on this image to get into the top 10, but still for me I liked all the styling, the kind of the neon with the top here that she's got on, and kind of I liked all the lights in the background as they weren't a distraction for me. This next image again was put into the top 20 as far as the kind of the overall soft feeling was concerned. We like the backlighting or forward shadow, the kind of the dappled lighting on towards the face. The expression was nice, but we felt there was a little bit too much light on the chest area here, just kind of distracted away from the image a little bit. This next baby image, beautiful, again, as far as the kind of presentation and the lighting is concerned and the whole overall styling, absolutely excellent. But again, it just missed out of the kind of the top 10 because we see so many types of this type of image before. Even though it was beautifully styled and one of the best ones that we've seen, it didn't quite have that extra little element of being different to kind of bring it into that kind of dreamy effect with it. But otherwise really nice as far as the image is concerned. It's a great image that, by the way. I really loved it. This next photograph, later entry into the competition, we did like the real bleached out effect of the girl. We felt that kind of brought a little bit more of a surreal kind of edge to it, even though in a competition as a rule, kind of blowing out those highlights as much as you have would kind of worked against you. Yeah, it's kind of pretty much worked here. For me though, the expression on the girl was just a little bit too limp. You've got such a phenomenal set as far as the kind of the look of the chair, great sexy pose, but the kind of the limbs, the hands are a little bit kind of limp in there, kind of posing these a little bit more kind of fantasia brought to them a little bit more elegance, perhaps even kind of reaching back towards here. But it was the expression really for me was the kind of the key killer with this. And obviously with books like the 50 Shades of Grey kind of really doing their rounds around swimming pools on holidays around the world today, kind of all this sexual element needs a little bit more of attention bringing into it. This, on the other hand, we felt was an absolutely beautiful photograph as far as its qualities and so on. Very, very reminiscent of kind of the Renaissance kind of styling with it. As far as the image was concerned, again, beautiful expression on the girl. We love the lighting going throughout. We just felt that it just didn't have the difference that perhaps some of the other images had. And again, as a group here on Photo Training for You, obviously I do have the last word, but again, we do try and judge these things as a team. And it was a bit of a shame because it probably would have got into my top 10. Next image, a baby shot. Again, beautiful as far as the kind of the posing into a very kind of similar or close to the frog position, and then as far as the posing kind of gets dominated with the baby's hat, of course, which is very, very kind of in trend still. But I'm not sure if the depth of field is a bit too much. It should be a little bit shallower. I just felt that the overall kind of image would have been enhanced with a bit of a different choice of perhaps the camera position over towards the left more, a little bit more kind of soft focus as far as split field is concerned, details onto the eyes and hands, allowing the torso and the legs to actually go out of focus a little bit. This hat's just a bit too dominant, but still really nice expression there. This next image I felt was beautiful. It was almost like I was walking through a kind of an old gallery of statues, and kind of you just taking an image. Really love it. It's porcelain kind of skin. I'm loving the texture that you've applied and so on. It really, really does work well. It could be a statue, in fact. I mean, it's almost so perfect on the buttock and the leg at the leg line. Very Rubenesque in its styling there, but beautiful. We just felt that perhaps there's a little bit too much information on the bottom of the calf here. Just needed to be brought up a little bit in as far as the crop was concerned. But beautiful photograph. This next baby image, again, just a nice image, the dreamlike kind of feeling, obviously to do with the expression. But as far as the other elements, the big white blob here, as far as the kind of the white and the over kill, it's just a little bit too much as far as the whitening. We just felt that in the dream theme, it should have a lot more softening. This next image, I loved it. I thought it was so humorous. As far as the kind of the overall finish was great. I loved it, and I got voted out of the top 10, which is a real shame. And as far as the editorial kind of humor that you've put into it, as I said, I absolutely love the kind of the real dream. He wants to be run off fines and so on. So even though a little bit kind of twee, I thought it was really, really funny. And again, it's those images that make you kind of smile at times, that kind of get pushed up the ranks just a little bit more and so on. And this image here of the flooding, it looks like A, what a disaster, and B, but what a beautiful photograph. I loved all the color tones and so on. And I think if you just cropped the image in half here and you just presented the bottom part, I think you may have done a little bit better, or cropped it into a vertical image, knocking out this bench and the fence line, or using the part of the middle part of the trees here. So again, just a little bit too much detail within the scene, kind of knocked it out of the top 10. Oh, and speaking about top 10, these are in reverse order, in fact, as far as from now. It's kind of a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, etc., etc. But as far as these next 5 images, they are in the reserve. So if should anybody not be able to make the 3-day event, we'll be straight in touch with you to actually see if one of you can fill the spot. So the first image, just to miss out, number 10 on the list, as it were, is basically the girl in the field of dreams, as it were. We really did like the effort that you'd gone to, the styling, the kind of the point of the time of the day and so on. Probably it's just the lighting is just a little bit too much harsh here, and it's kind of a little bit in your face, and I think a little bit more of a subtle use of the flash, perhaps even coming through from this right direction, just to actually kind of put some of the shadow going throughout, may have helped that. But again, into our top 10 through effort, really like that. So again, this image, we believe, is by Chris Thornton, so very well done on that. This next image with the girl with brolly, again, one of my kind of favorites as far as the feeling on the face was concerned. I felt that the brolly, the sunshade, was just a little bit too sharp compared to the bleaching and the softening that you'd done on the skin here, and it just didn't kind of quite fit. It was well on its way to kind of that dream sensation, but again, the elements didn't quite work together, and it wasn't quite animation on her, and then the rest was a real photograph. It just didn't all kind of fit together, or it wasn't different enough to really kind of knee jerk. And we did have some really good attempts on the kind of the likes of the horror style of nightmare instead of dream and so on. But again, this image, again, great, but just needs a little bit more kind of shock factor really to actually just go from there. This image was by Simon Goldenberger, so really nice. This next photograph, again, for me, would have been one of the ones in my top 5, except I was voted out again. I love the blur, the kind of the high key, the bleaching out, still all the detail running here. I thought it was an excellent choice of model, and the whole sensation going on there. I love the backdrop that you had going through. Probably to make it stronger, another team said about it, but to make it stronger, perhaps having some of the light coming through these slats and kind of almost giving shafts, especially because we've got this kind of diffusion going on in here, might have kind of helped that more, but I felt it was really, really strong. Distraction-wise, this white netting or window or whatever it is going on in here just kind of really just takes your eye away from it, which is a real shame, and this is by David Frayne. Again, a beautiful image. It's years since I've done a bride on a horse, and again, riding through the fields, Lady Godiva kind of styling of things, but obviously with a dress on. I love the textures that you put on. I would have preferred, I think, for you to have applied the texture throughout the whole image. I think you've stepped back a little bit by erasing the elements around the horse and the girl, and by doing that you've lost some of the painterly kind of quality that would have brought it perhaps a little bit more in towards the dream. I think it's a shame that the horse is a dark horse instead of a lighter, a light grey or a white horse, because I think that would have added into the kind of the whole scene. But as it was, again, as I said, just the texture missing, the softness, the extra softness really kind of misses, and in fact the horse is sharper through the quality of the lighting than the girl is on the horse, in fact. And instead of being drawn to this beautiful pose and beautiful kind of positioning on the horse here, I'm drawn to the horse's head all the time, which is a bit of a shame, but again, very good attempt. And then this photograph just narrowly missed out of the top 5, which is a real shame. I loved it. An image by Janet Broughton. Sorry, the last image of the girl on the horse was shot by Wendy Lily Green, so beautiful shot there, as I said, get those textures across the whole image. This next image, I said, Janet Broughton, beautiful photograph, loved all the tone, the dreamy kind of the focus part. We've never run one with such a big kind of theme, whether it's a photo critique or whatever, but it's always good to actually see how you kind of think about the kind of the theme of the shot. It's a bit like what we're doing with the apprentices, the fashion apprentices for this year, where they do have to kind of really think and work hard to interpret the brief to kind of be what the client wants, whether it's me as a client or whether it is a real client kind of doing their request and so on. But as I said, I loved all the haze, love the pier and the kind of the overall styling. Unlucky there. Probably if you kind of trimmed off some of the top of this to help bring some more back of the thirds, I think it might have just creeped into the top 5, but you never know. Obviously, what we do is judge the images in front of us, and obviously not actually the corrections or through the advice that I'm giving you. So, and then we get into the exciting part to see if you're one of our 5 lucky winners who are going to be joining me and the team on the dates are 18th, 19th and 20th of August down here in Cardiff for three days of which I hope are going to be just amazing. We've got some great shoots lined up for you already, so I won't delay. Let's get into it. The first shot unanimously voted in by the team. For me, it was one of my weaker images that were actually in the top 5, but still, you know, it's all about kind of getting into that the top 5. It's not about winning the grand prize. There is no grand prize. The whole of the grand prize is being here with us and kind of going through the experience. For me, there was just a little bit too much detail running through the edges. I would have preferred a real long, slim panoramic. We would have still had the beautiful edging of the trees that we have in here, bit of vignetting down and so on. The horses in the background of the sheep, whatever they were, they need to be knocked back a little bit as far as the tonality. I want my eye to come to this little girl straight away, even though she's very, very small in the frame. I want that kind of the drifting kind of going through that. And this image was done by Greg Keeling. So very well done, Greg, if you're online with us. I haven't had a chance to check if you are online or not, but you'll be one of the photographers joining us. The next image, number 4 in the list, is this beautiful ice image. And please excuse me from probably saying your name wrong, but it's Tapio Kajalinia. Beautiful photograph. Again, well within the theme. Great shot, a great tonality. I would have probably liked a kind of bit of a cleanup, a little bit of lightning as well. And what I mean by that, the cleanup is this kind of little mark here, just actually in the ocean or on the ice, whatever it would be. And I would really love to see more and more of this blue as kind of coming through the edge. And just it's a little bit too dark, and I would have loved to see this almost kind of neon blue coming through without kind of distracting away from here, or trimming off kind of some of the other elements, a little bit more of the header and so on. But for me, just lifting this up a little bit would have really shocked us with the blue. So Tapio, very well done, a great image, and you'll be joining us, of course. The next photograph, again, brought some discussion with it in the team, but we felt the brief was probably one of the most successful in execution as far as the Fantasia was concerned. And funny enough, when I was doing art at my A-level stage, I did a whole series around Dali and the Fantasia, and it kind of reminds me about this kind of element. But very well done. Kind of obviously we're only looking at a low resolution file, so I hope that kind of the cutting out and everything else is perfect. But really lovely shot with it. Very brave as well to put this other the fallen rock coming through. There were some great front covers of rock bands, kind of Fantasia images in the 80s and 70s, and I think if you've had influence from them, I think it works really well. But very brave putting in this extra rock in the background, especially as it doesn't have a figure on it. Probably I would have just darkened it just a little bit because it is very strong, but yeah, love it, very well done. And this image is done by Chris Davis, so very well done, Chris. Number 2 in the selection, again, fantastic. Probably for me, the one that kind of gets closest to the nightmare. Many faces of Eve, many faces of sleep, many faces of kind of expression. Beautiful, love all the textures going on there. Kind of once you start to look into this image, you start to see some even more water marking, as if it's like from a currency note and things, really. And if anything, the girl, you might not be able to see on the screen, but there's a girl here in white, which is almost this kind of bas relief, and there's a big kind of decal fleur kind of going on around this edge here. And I feel just those two images are just a little bit too strong. The bird, I think, is beautiful. Once more, I think it could go back just a little bit more. But I do like all these kind of elements being brought together. I would love to actually see a series of images, and probably some of the time that you kind of come down here on the Dream Team 3 days with us will really give us a kind of chance to actually chat and discuss about some of the images that you've put in and things, really. So very well done. And this image is by Nicola Windell, so very well done with that. And then the top image, unanimously chosen by the whole team, even though the top 5 are all winners, of course. And my favorite image, as soon as I saw it, it just jumped out of the page, is this image of the guy running along the path towards the birds. Absolutely love it. For me, it typifies all the kind of the fantasy element that perhaps we expecting in more. Lots of pretty girls in white dresses and kind of all that thing. We saw lots of those going through. But when we're in competition mode, we've got to have images that really kind of jump out and stand away with it. Loved it. As I said, a very great image. So again, the winner is Phil Hargreaves. So he's our kind of favorite image of the selection. However, just one of our dream team. Really sorry if you haven't got through. I apologize. I promise that we'll be doing it again to try and get some of you to actually come down and spend some time with us, and we'll try and put it on in different parts of the world as well, kind of thing with it. Thank you very much for all that took part. That's great. I'm sure you'll look forward to actually seeing some of the results. So I'm Mark Clegg for Photo Training for You. We'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.